Alright, y'all. Y'all seen the thumbnail. I'm finna get right to it. Zeezzy the King. This finna be a small little recap and a small story time. The recap ain't shit. It's just I ain't been around in a while. Y'all probably thinking why. I was under the weather again. It's just like when the seasons change from hot to cold, I get a little sick. I got a bad immune system, asthma, bronchitis type shit. Also, when it get from cold to hot, flowering, pollinating, spring, I get sick again. Plus, if my kids catch any kind of cold, my immune system horrible. I catch a cold too. So I wasn't camera ready for about 7 days in a row. I wasn't fucked up, but I just voice wasn't good enough to even want to get on camera and didn't damn near feel like it. Now this is story time. This right here is a classic. The thing about this is it's kind of hard to watch it with my kids because this is the story time, by the way. It's hard to watch it with them because unlike me, they can't go back to 70s. They only can go back to the 80s because that's my generation, the years I was born in, and Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, the slasher, boom. So they okay with that. But if I put Leatherface 74 on, they want the remake. And that's what Black Christmas is. If I put this on, they prefer the remake because it's way more gory, more into their Gen Z mind state of what they used to. So if you ain't got a mind state like they young kids, so I don't trip. But if you ain't got a mind for pre-80s, cut your throat out slashing, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, this ain't gonna work for you because I'm gonna get to it in a minute. But I'm gonna get to the cast and the budget and all that before I go. That was story time and a recap. This is Black Christmas from 1974. This had a great year with Leatherface came out the same year, part one of the most iconic legendary movies ever. But the cast, it's based into a sorority house, basically. It's got a nice little cast, but I'm gonna name a few members. We got Olivia Hudson as Jess Bradford. She's the main protagonist, final girl. We got Margaret Kidder as Barbara Cox, and she's supposed to be like the promiscuous, and it's no sex in this movie, but she's supposed to be the, you know what I'm saying, flashy, promiscuous, you know what I'm saying, hot shot, you know what I'm saying, hippie type 70s chick. That's a normal chick now. The protagonists have her personality traits nowadays. But in the 70s, it was like role gender's supposed to have been perfectly suited. So she supposed to have been somebody that you don't want to die, but you know what I'm saying, kind of aggravating. We got the great John Saxon as Lieutenant Kenny. I mean, this is before Nightmare on Elm Street was even a concept, and he was already on his lieutenant shit. He's a great actor in other movies besides horror. But we got Marianne Wallman as Barb. She's like the sorority leader of the house, not elderly, but older lady. I guess she like the alter gamma lady of the house who controlled it and been like the president of it. And then we got the killer. I call him, they say his name Billy, but it's also the Moaner, and I'm gonna get to that next. This had a budget of $620,000, which was a fucking damn lot in the 70s, but the box office was $4.1 million, so they made their profit. It was wrote by A. Roy Moore, underrated movie, classic, iconic, you never hear about him. And then we got it produced and directed by Bob Clark. I'm not really fond of too much of Bob Clark's work, but I done seen a few of his other movies. Now, in my opinion, Hitchcock from the Psycho is the godfather of horror, slasher, suspense, whatever you want to call it. Then we get the Wes Cravens, the Stephen Kings, the Toby Hoopers, the John Carpenters. All of those guys are legendary under Hitchcock, but they all took from each other in certain aspect, a certain movie, a certain book. And I think this movie got ripped off 1,000 times over into the culture of the horror genre. That's why I love Leatherface Part 1, 74. This movie I'll put up in that same category because in my opinion, this birthed The Shape. Yes, Michael Myers. This birthed The Shape. And 30 years later, to me, in my opinion, it birthed Ghostface. And I'm going to tell you why as the review go on. But this movie It's great. I ain't gonna cap, and I'm gonna tell you why I give it what I'm gonna give it the rating at the end. But it's so you gotta put yourself first of all. You get, like I say with Leatherface, certain movies, the kills get cut down from the FDA. So if you can't suspend your disbelief or imagination growth, it ain't gonna work for you. That's how this is. This movie is very voyeuristic. The killer isn't seen on screen, not for 1 minute, 2 minutes, nothing. This is like the shark in Jaws that didn't work. The killer is he got about 5 minutes screen time, and it's not a full body frame. He's never demasked or declawed. It's no moment where he gets arrested and goes to jail. That's what makes it so creepy and scary. Psychopath serial killers sometimes have reigns of terror. They don't get one kill, get caught. They might get 7, 8 kills before they get caught. You know how psychopaths and serial killers, when you hear they horror story on documentaries, how many years when they started, when they got caught. This to me is the start of a future psychopath serial killer because he creeps up in a sorority house at the very beginning. The opening shot is clearly snowing, Christmas lights. The setting is perfect for a horror Christmas movie. When they pan into the outside, you see the sorority chicks going into the house. They getting settled up, eggnog. The barb chick got her little drink. All the chicks are congregating, doing what they do. It's Christmas night. The stalker climbs up, back in the day, they used to have, climb crates where you could hang flowers and stuff. So he climbs up the garter rail and sneaks into the sorority house, like third, second floor, and goes into the attic. He quiet as a church mouse, not making a sound. So that tells you this ain't his first kill. Now, this might be me psychoanalyzing and overanalyzing. You know how we do fan films and we overanalyze movies that's 10, 5, 6 years old that we love? I might be overanalyzing this. But this, to me, doesn't feel like his first kill. Because they say serial killers always get better at their craft. So for him to go after a sorority where it's multiple victims, Ted Bundy style, that tells you he's confident enough he can commit the crime and get away. Most times serial killers, they got away because it was no DNA, it was no fingernails, it was no fingerprints. They didn't have that kind of technology, for one, in the 70s. And for two, they normally made mistakes until they got to their final form of getting a kill and not making a mistake and not leaving a track behind unless they wanted to, Zodiac style. And that's where I view him as, the Moaner. I think he's a few years into his killing streak where he confident enough to go after a sorority house. So 10, 15 minutes into the movie, this is a movie only an hour and a half, so this not going to be a long review either. He ain't bullshitting and playing around and jump scaring. He get right to business. He calling them. This is where I say the Ghostface character was inspired by it. Now I know Babysitter, certain movies all got certain tropes, but where I say he got birth Ghostface in a way, or at least a concept or idea, is because he a phone caller. Now Ghostface way more animated, way more modern with the talking and the I'ma slit your throat and cut your guts out. Like Ghostface a fool with it. If he was the Shape, Ghostface was Freddy Krueger. The Shape don't talk and he barely mumble and moan. Far as Ghostface talking and joking, it's Freddy. That's how I can compare the four, I should say. So he calls Barb on the phone. He ain't talking, I'ma kill you, like a bunch of evil shit. He just, they say he got, psychological problems. He moaning, making very disturbing sounds and noises. And as the movie go on, the calls and the disturbing moans become worse and worse. It start off growls and grunts. It becomes like the sound effects is 100. Dude, creepy as a motherfucker. Now, for a guy would just hang up and wouldn't have no fear for one-on-one against this dude. But we don't know how this guy look, his size, his ability, his strength, his training. So he still could fuck a guy up. But he worked. And that's why I think the Shape was formed, because the shape will make the shape way better. Is he visible, he iconic, he got a mask, and he just got so many more things over the Moaner. But the concept of a voyeuristic killer, no purpose for doing this, no motive, no reason, damn, no explanation. That's where I say Ghostface in the Shape was all birthed and metamorphed from this movie's concept. And another thing about this movie, I swear to God, it got some funny jokes. Y'all know how I feel about my horror comedy. But the lady with the, it's like a picture in the background because a father come looking for his daughter because she missing. She the first kill I didn't even mention. As a chicks all congregating, one of them go to the attic. He smothers her with a plastic bag, wraps her up, smothers her to death, kills her. As the father comes looking for her, the lady got all kind of pornographic photos on the wall. She covering them up when he look at her. It's some funny scenes. She drinking a lot. She got a liquor bottle in the Bible. She got liquor all throughout the house. So every room she go into, she opens a secret department. It's liquor. It's a funny little joke. Nice little gag. She funny. I like that. That's what I like in my horror movie. Jokes or a comedic aspect that's not in your face or overdoing it, just to lighten the mood before the shit happens. Because it's another kill. So there's like 2 or 3 kills in this movie. And the protagonist got one. As the creeping star and the call is picking up, ladies are going to their family for Christmas. I said Thanksgiving. For Christmas, they leaving out. The house is getting emptier and emptier as the night gets later and later in the night. To where the lady hears some creaks in the attic. She go up there and the Moaner got this big ass Captain Hook like on a spring. So when he let it go, it's gonna hook the lady. So as she looking around trying to find who out there, she think it's a prank played on her. When she finally looks up and notices the killer, the Moaner, he swings the pendulum and hooks her. And then he, brings her up for the second kill. That's it. Now all this shit I'm saying is the movie damn near more than halfway over. That's when John Saxton's character enters the fray. Jess is the main character. But like I said, Barb got damn near much of screen time as her. Jess calls the cops. They like, we can't do nothing about it. We sorry, woo woo. So as the not the killings start to happening, it's a secret, not a secret, but the killer leaves and kills a random kid or something. That's when it draws the cops in. And it's close to the sorority house. So now Jess, Barb, and a few of the other chicks go to the police station. They like, man, that was close to our house. We've been getting calls all night. I want somebody to get some protection before we become victims. They're like, all right, if next time we call, keep them on the line. We're going to try to track the phone call. Boo bop the bam. Now, throughout all this plot happening, they got the tracking device on the phone for, you know how the feds do. Her boyfriend pulls up to the house. He wants some quality time. She's like, I need to talk to you anyway. What happens is Jess is pregnant by her boyfriend. What's his name? Peter. Played by Keir Dullon. He comes in the house on some creepy ass shit. It's a red herring to make you think he the killer. Back in 74, we all would have thought he was a killer. In our 2022 mind, we know. It's 2 things. He could be the killer or it's just a red herring. That's what this is. He get to talking to her about woo-woo, life, stay life, what's going on, what we should do. Because she reveals to him she's pregnant and she's not telling them, I'm not asking them, but telling them, I'm getting an abortion. I'm too young. I'm in college. I want to have a life. I don't want to be hampered down with a child. I love you, but we ain't finna have a baby right now. He get real annoyed, real stalker kind of look. You know, 70s niggas look like either porn stars or killers for some reason to me. So he storms out and it makes you think, okay, now he got real motivation to be the killer. But, he's not the killer. When they get to the final fight, final battle, it's not no final fight, Lori and Michael. It's none of that. The voyeuristic guy is kind of following her through the house, making himself known he's there. But it's not no chase. So as she running, scrambling, hiding through the basement, that's when her boyfriend appears at the window. The window all foggy and snowy. He like, baby, let me in. She let him in. He get on some creepy shit. I'm talking about the atmosphere. I wish I had the visuals. The atmosphere, the scene, the basement. It looks so creepy and dungeon-like. Everything, the aesthetics is perfect in this. Then we cut to the cops busting in on some, this remind me of Saw 3, where we see this scene, but this scene really happening. So as they busting through the scene, getting to the final basement, where that's the final room to clear out, they see her there with the fire poker. She done killed her potential baby daddy boyfriend. He all bloody, laying on her lap, dead. The cops do their little crime scene investigation. It's a big scene for an hour or two. I'm talking about far as real time, not movie time. After they settle everything down, everybody assumed he was the killer. He dead now. Happy ending. I'm like, that was a damn good movie. But it's not over. We see the attic hole that he creeped in from the jump. And it's signs that clearly say he in there, and you see all of his victims through the movie, which is like 2. They all in there in a dead form, and he chilling. So this leaves you like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in my opinion, open-ended. He can kill her tonight. He can come back. Whatever your imagination can fill in the blank, he can do that. And there you have it. Happy ending, but not. Sequel bait? Of course. I'm giving this movie, no doubt, a 9 out of 10. It's easy. It's a 9 because I feel it birthed Ghostface and the shape in certain aspects. The classic iconic horror trope of voyeuristic killer with no motivation, no family connection, no reason to exist or do what he do. Perfect. 10 out of 10 with the killer. The problem is the killer. He's not iconic. He's not known. He's not on screen. We never see him. We never hear him. So that part was kind of the fail. I wouldn't say I was going to say epic fail, but it wasn't. It just was. You can't get into the horror icon level when you ain't even on screen at all. You're not even an entity. That to me made it a 9 out of 10. But another reason why it's not a 10 is because this movie is straightforward, straight to the business, and put yourself in 74, you wouldn't think about it. But I grew up in the 80s and 90s slashers. This movie had the potential, in my opinion, for 7 or 8 jump scares that never happened. You know how jump scares work. You know what jump scares. Sometimes you can over fucking do it, and sometimes you didn't do it good enough, and sometimes you didn't do it at all. This was one of them you didn't do it at all. Sometimes a movie got 10, 12 of them, and it's ridiculous. This movie has scenes where my mind is conditioned. Oh, this is a jump scare moment. And it never happened. This movie could have capitalized on way more scary scenes because the movie to me is not scary. It's creepy and suspenseful. A movie can be great without being scary. It could be creepy or suspenseful and be a 10. But those nitpicks is why it's a 9 out of my 10. And that's all we got. I got a special bonus feature coming up later just because I've been gone for a week. Zeezzy the King, Zach King on Facebook. Like and subscribe. Your favorite horror channel, and I'm out.